Hello everybody, you're watching Q&A on Newegg TV. I'm Jennifer.
I'm Steve.
And if you ever want to have any of your questions answered by the Newegg TV crew, you can send them in at qandegg@gmail.com or on Twitter at qandegg.
Excellent.
So, you ready to go, Steve?
Let's do it. Let's answer some questions.
Just you and me and you, answering questions.
It's sort of weird without another body somewhere over here.
I know.
But we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. We're smart people.
We are. I don't know, Jenny, don't ask.
All right, so this one came in from Highroller, and it's specifically for you. He asks, Steve, would you recommend buying a diskless NAS like the DX4 or building your own? And if you were to build your own, would you run Windows Server, FreeNAS, or something else?
All right, so a couple things I want to say. There are some advantages if you go diskless with it, because then you can actually choose whichever disks you want to use. Obviously, if you're going to run a NAS, I recommend specifically hard drives that are going to be NAS related, and you can look those up. We have tons of other videos on those. But more importantly, if you're going to go with diskless, you might even be able to build your own system, and then you probably want to jump into FreeNAS in general. That's a great OS for something like that. Actually, check out techsyndicate.com. They have great videos on that specific subject. Wendell is a wealth of knowledge on something like this, so I'm going to defer over to him for more information on that.
Yeah, Wendell's built quite a few, and their videos are really interesting how they do it, so
definitely
check it out.
Yeah.
Ross N writes in and asks, what are your favorite screwdrivers for building PCs and why?
such a funny topic, right? Like, I know Paul likes to have a magnetic style screwdriver because you don't want to drop those screws, and you work with tools quite a bit.
Yeah, I prefer magnetic.
Yeah,
yeah,
right?
magnetic everything.
Oh man, so for me, I would prefer a magnetized screwdriver, but in general, I'll use whatever will get the job done without stripping anything. But if you really want to go all out, you can go with iFixit's, iFixit.com. You can pick up one of their toolkits for around like 75 bucks, and you get pretty much everything. That's like the toolkit you could use for taking apart all sorts of different electronics.
Yeah.
It's an awesome kit. So.
They're really well-made tools too. That's what we typically use around here.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out. iFixit. So at Bob Stint on Twitter asks, do you have any experience with AMD's Gaming Evolved app, and is it worth the install? I don't use the social apps much. Or he says, I don't think I'll use the social apps much. So you and I don't really have much experience with this, so I did a little research on what it was. So AMD's Gaming Evolved client is basically a way to keep your drivers up to date. It also auto-optimizes your games, and then you can earn rewards just for using it, like free games or discounts on hardware. And I think that alone would probably make it worth it if you buy a lot of games or are really into Radeon hardware. That would be a good way to earn some discounts. So that's cool. Also, it allows you to connect with others while in game, which I imagine is what he's talking about with the social app. I do so much social media just like on the day-to-day that I'm not really looking for anything to add more social anything to my life.
Yeah.
But as far as being able to auto-optimize my games and using or obtaining those rewards, I think it would definitely be worth the install if you're running a Radeon card. Nice.
Actually, it sort of reminded me of Raptor. That software has a lot of the same features in it, but it's fantastic.
Also, it'd probably be a really great way to stay up to date on the latest AMD news. You know, they're releasing something or announcing something, it seems like every other week. So that probably, the Gaming Evolved client would probably be a really good way to stay on top of your AMD hardware news too.
Very cool.
Okay, I'm glad I researched that.
Yes, thank you very much for doing that.
Thanks, Bob. All right, so our Q of the week comes from the Q&A Twitter, and it's from McFly48. He asks, do you run multiple GPUs for performance or just to run multiple monitors? And keep up the great work, guys. Thank you very much, McFly. We appreciate the support.
And the name too, McFly is awesome.
Yes. Steve's a huge Back to the Future fan.
I am. It's awesome, especially being so close to the mall where they filmed it. So Jenny, do you want to start off on this one a little bit on this?
Well, I will tell you that you don't need multiple GPUs to run multiple monitors. You just need one GPU that has multiple monitor capabilities, which almost all modern graphics cards do. I actually haven't even seen a low-end card that can't run at least one HDMI out and one DVI out. So that's something to consider, that if you're looking at it from a budgetary standpoint, you definitely don't need two GPUs to run multiple monitors, even really well.
You can usually run a minimum of 4 with today's GPUs, so and upwards of 6 with a single GPU. So I would definitely say you're going to get more performance if you go with a second card, a third card, a fourth card. There's diminishing returns as you go higher, but in general, it's going to be dependent on the game, how well that transfers in performance, and you're also spending tons of money. So I really don't see any supreme benefit in that if you're just planning on playing some games at a meager level. Even on the highest settings, you can do pretty well on most, depending on the resolution size. If you're going above 1080p, then you're obviously going to need a little bit more horsepower. That may not necessarily mean purchasing a second video card, so just keep that in mind.
And I always tell people when they're talking about GPU purchases, look at the type of gaming you do and the type of gaming you want to do. And then also if you do any kind of imaging editing, so video, photo editing, things like that. Like, what are the general uses of your computer? And then buy a GPU that fits those needs. So if your goal is to do 4K gaming, first know that they're getting better about having games that actually have 4K resolution. So, you know, the market is almost there, but it's not quite every game yet. And if you're not buying those games regularly or aren't that interested in the genres that they are supporting 4K gaming in, it probably isn't worth spending the money on, you know, 2, 3 GPUs. And also, as you've told me many times, that not all games have multi-SLI or Crossfire support.
Right. It depends on what they're writing it for, but yes, I'd say most of the mainstream games are going to have it. So I'm sure if he's asking about that, he's probably fine. And anything indie is probably not pushing your system extremely hard. I'm sure there's someone out there that's going to put in the comments, oh, this game, Steve, don't forget about this one. And you're right, there are exceptions to everything, but I'm just saying generally speaking. So.
That said, I think that multi-GPU systems are extremely hardcore and bad A. So
bad A, $, $, $. $.
So if you want to go out and build a multi-GPU system, you do you, and we will be proud.
Very, very cool.
All right. Well, that's it for us.
Awesome.
This week. So again, if you guys want to have your questions answered, write in to qnegg@gmail.com or tweet at qnegg on Twitter, and we'll see you guys next week on Newegg TV.